and the game starts out with the move d4. Now this is a move that I don't necessarily hate, but one of the things when you're playing Fischer random chess is you have to be very careful of the bishops on the diagonals, because when white goes d4 here, white is slamming the door shut potentially, or black has an open diagonal versus his bishop on a1. So we get d4. Now we get d5 being played. Hans plays the move g3. We get g6. And now we have the move b3. Magnus decides here to lash out with the move c5. And already you can tell that this is a slight mistake. Computer does not like this move. It's not bad or anything, but it is a very forcing move. Now, of course, Magnus could have played b6 and we would have had the classic mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? But instead he plays c5. Now we get the move c4 from Hans, and this is already a huge mistake from Hans on move 4. Now Hans likes to tout himself as being the future first American world champion, but with blunders on move number 4 like this, it's very hard to see Hans achieving that goal. So Hans outright makes a huge blunder on move number 4. How embarrassing. We get pawn takes pawn, Hans plays queen takes, and already here after the move knight to e6, black is winning this pawn on d4 here due to the pin on the diagonal, and it's already a big disaster. Now on a separate note, this is also why Fischer random chess can be considered very, very interesting and different, because there is no opening preparation, no theory whatsoever, and because of that, you're on your own for move number 1. You must use this thing that we call a brain, and you can't simply use this new age hippie technology to basically survive the first 15 moves without having to think at all. So after knight to e6, we get the move bishop to d5 here from Hans, and Magnus decides to sack the rook with rook takes bishop on d5. Now the computer actually prefers black choosing the castle here, but Magnus is in no mood to do this. He's obviously a big fan of Levy. He knows that he's playing against Levy's coach here, and he decides to sack the rook. So we get queen takes rook. Magnus decides to castle, and now we get the move knight d2. Now already here it's very hard to play. If this were a classical game with more time, there's some chance that Hans could come up with a better solution, but when you're playing 3+1, you don't want to fall too far behind on the clock, and the fact that white is going to lose the pawn, there's b6 or b5 to open up the diagonal to attack the queen, makes this simply very, very difficult. So we get knight to d2, and now Magnus plays move knight c6. Now you might be thinking, why not b5? The queen is simply trapped here, but you do have to be very careful, because if you play a move like b5 trapping the queen, you actually end up just hanging the bishop on a8, and after this you end up resigning the game. So Magnus goes knight to c6, developing the knight. He intends to open up the scope for the bishop, and now Hans plays the move queen c4. Now white could play the move pawn takes pawn, but this would actually lose the bishop on a1, and you would lose the game very, very quickly. So we get the move knight takes d4, Hans takes on d4, Magnus takes with the knight, and now we get the move knight a3 being played. Here Magnus plays the move b6, and at this point this is a lovely position for Magnus. He has the two bishops, or the Bs as we call them, the bishop pair here. White also is lacking. There's no fianchettoed bishop on g2, so if you ever try to castle kingside, very, very quickly after queen to h3, you're getting attacked immediately. So we get the move knight to b5. Magnus plays move knight takes knight, we get queen takes knight, and here we have the move queen h3 being played to stop white from ever castling the king to g1. Hans plays move queen d3, we get queen takes pawn, rook f1, and now we have the move queen h3. Now here Hans could have tried to castle the king out of the center of the board. The rook on d1 has not moved, so queenside castles is a possibility. I'm not sure whether Hans didn't realize it existed or he just didn't like it. However, after castles, black would probably play something like queen e6, and now you have the problem that I'm going to use the queen and the bishop and attack you with a AA battery on this diagonal. And much like the other diagonal, once again, you're lacking. You don't have your fianchettoed bishop. There's no bishop on b2 to support the king. So with these two pawn structures, both of the diagonals are open for the bishops, and Magnus is on the hunt. So we get the move knight to f3. Now we have the move bishop to c6 being played by Magnus. Here we have rook g1 from Hans. Magnus goes queen e6, king f1,